Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a little natural light filming and create just a really simple, easy, low coverage, bronzy summery look. I'm pulling out some old staples like my Juvia's Place Masquerade Mini that I feel like I haven't used it in months. And then I'm going to touch on a couple newer items in my collection. I have one of the lipsticks from Propa Beauty, and I also have this e.l.f. Active Lip and Cheek palette, which I've used on camera, I think once or maybe twice, but I've used it quite a bit behind the scenes and I wanted to give you some updated thoughts. Let's go ahead and jump right in. If you're new to my channel, hi, I'm Morgan. I focus a lot of my content on YouTube on conscious consumerism and cruelty-free beauty. So I oftentimes like to have a really curated makeup collection of items that I truly love. If that approach to makeup sounds interesting to you, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go today. And if you've been around a while, you probably recognize this background here. This is actually where I used to film all of my YouTube videos when I first got started. I didn't have any lights, so I had to film right in front of a window to get the best natural light I could. I really wanted to take advantage of the good natural lighting we're having lately here in Colorado. And I think a nice bronzy summery look really lends itself to this filming style. So let me know if you like this. I can try to do it more often. It's really hard in the winter time, but in the summer, I think it's a little more feasible for me. Okay, let's get into it. Off camera, I did already apply the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and then I did my brows, and I just used my usual Essence Brow Designer pencil that is now so tiny. It's so small. This is in my project pan. And I also used the e.l.f. Wow Brow. So that's all I have done already, and then some lip balm. So for my base today, I'm wanting something relatively low coverage, pretty sheer, but still adding a little bit of glow and life to my face. I need my makeup to last in this heat wave we're having right now, so I decided to pick the Ordinary Serum Foundation. I think this offers both the things I'm wanting. It is that light coverage that I want, but it's kind of more of a matte finish, so it has really good lasting power. The only trouble there is that I do want kind of that glowier base. So I'm actually gonna mix it in with a little bit of the L'Oreal Visible Lift Luminous Serum Tint. So these two mixed together, I'm just going to apply that in a really light layer across my whole face. That is exactly what I was going for. Extremely light coverage, very skin-like finish, but I know this will last because that Ordinary Serum Foundation has incredible staying power for such a light coverage product. Okay, going in with concealer today, this is the newest product to my entire makeup collection. This is the Thrive Cosmetics Buildable Blur HD Creaseless Concealer. So I do not have formal thoughts on this yet. A video will be going up this Thursday with a full review of this as well as the Thrive mascara. So keep an eye out, subscribe, turn your notifications on if you're curious about actual well-formulated thoughts on this. I've used it once already, but I didn't have any other makeup on my face. So this will be my first time using it with like a full face of actual makeup. Just to give you some like preliminary thoughts on this, that are in no way like fully formed opinions at all. Like I said, I've used it one time. It's a very thin consistency, which I love in a concealer. And that's kind of the best I can tell you right now. Today, I will be wearing this makeup for like 12 hours. So I'll have some good thoughts after this. Okay, and then I do really want to give you all updates on my thoughts on this e.l.f. Active Lip and Cheek palette. So I'm going to talk through real quick what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to talk through my thoughts while I'm applying it. I am going to use the most brown toned shade as kind of an all-over bronze, and then I'm going to use this lighter pinky peach because I don't think I've used that one on camera at all. So I am going to use this light pinky peach as my blush color, and then I'll use the highlighter as my highlighter. Going in with the bronzer shade first. It is warm toned. I don't think this is necessarily intended to be a bronzer shade on like everyone. You know, I think on some people, this is firmly a blush because it does have kind of that rosier undertone. It is quite pigmented, So you could go, you could get a little out of hand with this if you had fairer skin than me, especially. Like when I first bought this, it was kind of, I didn't really have any sort of a summer tan, and this was a little bit overwhelming as a bronzer. In terms of formula, it's thick. These are like hefty, thick creams. So I've gotten a lot of questions asking me how it compares to like my Salt New York creams, and I would say they're not the same formula. The e.l.f. palette only has the one shade available, so this colorway is the only option, and this is definitely not going to work for everyone. I think the Salt color range is much more inclusive, but if we're just talking about formula and performance, the Salt New York is much balmier. It's like a thin balm, and this is like a thick, thick, thick cream. Both of those have their pros and cons. I personally think the Salt is easier. I should rephrase that. I think that it is more beginner friendly because it's hard to put too much of the Salt New York on, and if you do, it blends out super easily. This, I certainly have to be more careful with. You'll see I'm building this up in like the slowest, thinnest layers that I can. I'm dipping in and dabbing on the back of my hand first before putting it on my face, or I'm putting a little on the back of my hand, blending it into my brush, and then putting it on my face. I would never go straight into this compact and then onto my face with it. But here's the thing. Ultimately, I love how this looks. I love the shade, the tone of this on my skin tone. It's impeccable. And so to me, it's worth kind of the trade-off of having to be a little more careful. Okay, so moving on to the blush, I just want a little bit of this peachy blush on my cheeks. I don't want a ton. I do want to keep it kind of bronzy glowy today. So I'm just gonna use a little, and I'm going to use my little e.l.f. stippling brush. The duo fiber bristles on here mean that it'll apply it a little bit more sheer than a fully dense brush would. So just getting a little bit of kind of localized color right there on the tops of my cheekbones. Personally, I think this is a gorgeous color. It's kind of just a standard pinky peach though. So like if you're expecting some sort of like innovative, exciting blush color, this isn't gonna be the one for you. And then I'm just gonna take my ring finger in the highlighter and get a little bit on there, and then just dab it like right on the very tops of my cheekbones. I actually prefer this highlighter as kind of a mixer with the blushes more than I do on its own, at least in the summer. It's just a little icier than I have been preferring lately for my highlight. But if you mix it in with any of the other products, it gives them a beautiful glowy finish without kind of this stripiness that I get from it alone. So there it is, a quick little cheek with the e.l.f. Active Cheek Palette. I will say I don't like any of these shades as a lip color. It's not the color that's the problem. The formula itself is too thick and like goopy and creamy, in my opinion, to be a successful lip color. It just looks like I have painted literal paint onto my lips when I use this. So it's marketed as lip and cheek, but in my opinion, it is just a cheek product. Overall, I really like this palette. I'm very happy with it. As a purchase, I made for $3.20. It's normally $8, but it goes on sale all the time on the e.l.f. website, so keep an eye out. I'm very, very, very happy with the performance of these products, especially considering the price tag. Like I said, the colors in here are nothing special or unique, but if you're looking for a really good standard starter cream cheek kit, this is a great, great steal. Okay, and then I mentioned in my intro, I really, really wanted to use the Masquerade by Juvia's Place again. It's been a while since I've touched this. I haven't been in the mood for these super bright colors lately, and for some reason I keep forgetting about this neutral half of this palette, even though Casablanca, Dahlia, and Giza are three of my favorite shimmers in my whole entire collection. For some reason it has just not been on my mind. So I think I'm gonna do something a little different than normal today. Typically I'd put like a matte in the crease and the shimmer on my lid, but I'm not really in the mood for that today. I think I want to use these coppery tones, especially Casablanca and Dahlia. And I think I'm going to put down some brown eyeliner, smudge that out with Casablanca to get like that darkness right along my eye, and then I think I'm gonna blend it up into a lighter color. So I just took that brown liner and I'm gonna hope that I can smudge everything out a little bit. I've kind of this like dense but fluffy brush. It's the number 9 from Alter Ego. And then I'm gonna just take this brush and kind of load it up with some of Casablanca and apply kind of like up to my crease approximately. So it's giving me the effect I want. I wish the brown would have smudged a bit more. I didn't want quite that much of a line, but that's fine. Looks fine. Let me catch the other eye up to speed and then I'll be back to finish it off. Okay, very slight change of plans. I'm actually gonna go into Burkina here and just blend out the edges of Casablanca a little bit in my crease. This is like an extremely fluffy, loose brush. Okay, and I absolutely could leave it at this, but I can't for some reason. So I'm gonna take Dahlia, I'm gonna tap it like in the center of my lids, and then I'm gonna take Giza and do my inner corner and brow bone highlight. So here's Dahlia for kind of just this pop of color right in the center. And then Giza, it's just such a good blinding shade. And then under the eyes, I'm just going back to that matte shade with the tiniest bit, just for some definition down there. So not just tie it in all together. That's like the best makeup trick I learned from YouTube, and it's not even a makeup trick, but it's something that never occurred to me before I started watching YouTube, was to put eyeshadow under your eyes as well for a more cohesive look. Makes the world of difference. Okay, I'm really happy with that. It's just like a bronzy, glowy vibe. I'm gonna add a little bit of eyeliner back to the outer edges and mascara, and then I'll be back for lips. Okay, back with mascara done. So if you watched my video last Thursday, you heard me talk through kind of my concerns and hesitations about the shade Finesse from Propa Beauty that I picked up in their lipstick formula. So I've been wanting to try Propa Beauty lipsticks for, oh man, a long time now, and I finally picked up 2 shades, and Finesse, the lighter of the 2 shades I picked, was described as a peach, and it's like peachy, right? But if I put a swatch on the back of my hand, I think you'll be able to see, yeah, so it's like a very yellow based peach, not like a pink based or orange based peach. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with that inherently. It's just that it wasn't quite what I was expecting. And it looks a little out of place on my skin tone because I do have more cool, neutral undertones. So this very, very warm yellow-based shade just kind of doesn't look at home on my lips. So I'm gonna try to troubleshoot it today. So I'm gonna use a cool toned lip liner. This is the NYX Slim Lip Pencil in Nude Beige, just to lightly contour and line my lips. And I'm going to bring it like onto my actual lip more than I usually do for a lip liner, because I'm hoping that if most of the warmth is on the inner rim, where it's not actually touching my skin, it won't look so stark. Okay, so a pretty cool tone base down for this lipstick, and I'll go ahead and apply Finesse now, and then I'll talk about the formula a bit because I've been wearing it a lot at home, even though I haven't quite found a way that I like it on my skin tone yet. I've still been trying out these lipsticks behind the scenes to determine if I like the formula, the wear time, etc. Okay, so more or less, I think that worked out. I hope you can see what I mean when I say it just kind of washes my skin tone out a bit. I didn't anticipate it being quite this yellow toned. I think there are times when I'll appreciate having a shade like this in my collection, but I was hoping for this to be more of like an everyday peach for me, and it's just not probably not going to be that. But regardless of my feelings about the shade, I do want to provide a little bit of my thoughts on the formula. This is an outstanding lipstick formula. Everything everyone has said about it online, if you've seen any other reviews, is absolutely true. They have somehow found a perfect balance of pigmentation, opacity, and like the matte to cream scale, in my opinion. So it's definitely not matte, nor is it so creamy that it's like shiny on my lips. It's just that nice in-between satin. I love the finish. They have about average lasting time for a lipstick. I'd say, 4 hours or until I eat or drink and then I have to reapply. That's pretty standard for me anyway. And that's not a deal breaker or anything. It's not like they were marketed to be long wearing. And then the opacity of this one is really what makes it stand out from the crowd to me. I think it's just opaque enough to give you the oomph, the impact that you want from a lip color, but it's not so thick and opaque that it completely like blanks out your lips on first swipe. You can get it built up to that opacity, but I tend to prefer if I can see a little bit of my lip liner, a little bit of my natural lip color, have just that tiny, tiny, tiniest hint of sheerness in my lipsticks, and this does that for me. So I really, really love everything about this, aside from the fact that the shade was not quite what I expected based on photos online and kind of the text description of the color as well. That being said, the more I stand here, the more it's growing on me. I think I just have to take time to get used to a shade like this on me because it's not something I normally gravitate towards. Before I go today, I'll just give you kind of a little bit of a close-up of all of that makeup. Again, the kind of stars of the show here were that e.l.f. palette, the Juvia's Place palette that I was revisiting, and the Propa Beauty lipsticks. Again, keep an eye out for that Thrive Cosmetics review. It should be coming, I think, this Thursday. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video today. I really liked kind of getting back to this natural light filming. Hopefully the light will kind of stay consistent like this in future days as well, so I can do a little bit more of this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.